Please tell me your name.
Sir, my name is Harmohan Ratha.
Okay, and your roll number for this exam?
It's 301954.
Okay, now give me a formal introduction.
Yes, sir. Sir, my name is Harmohan Ratha. I belong to Angul district of Odisha and I am 26 years old. I have done my graduation from Odisha University of Agriculture and Technology and my post graduation and PhD from IGKB Raipur, and my PhD work is now continuing at ICAR NRRI Cuttack. And some of my hobbies are gardening and newspaper reading, and I am interested in the defense of developments around the India and world.
What is your hobby, you said?
So it's gardening and reading newspapers.
Gardening and reading newspaper.
Right, sir.
So today's interview we will focus on your optional subjects.
Yes.
Forestry and agriculture you have taken. Huh?
Right, sir.
So first tell me why you have chosen this subject. Which is your mother discipline? Forestry or agriculture?
Agriculture, sir.
Agriculture.
Yes,
so you
sir.
have done your BSc in agriculture.
Yes, sir.
And MSc in agriculture.
Yes, sir.
Now you are doing PhD.
Yes, sir.
Okay, so agriculture is understandable. Why forestry? Like why not botany, for example?
So forestry, I have a course in forestry, that is agroforestry in my UG and PG, and I found it good, and it is related to my subject. That's why I think it will be easy for me, and it will also I think the knowledge of forestry will help me in the future of this in the forestry if I get selected.
So we'll start with your own subject first, agriculture.
Yes,
Tell me some new agricultural techniques, especially soil-less agriculture.
Yes, sir. So
good thing, sir. Upon introduction का देले, formal introduction भी सेठी देले, सेठी ना कहिबे.
Yes, sir.
Okay, so you start with from where you are.
Yes,
सेटा भी जिसे मना करिवे,
yes,
ताको instruction ठीक से सुनिवे.
Sir.
Before starting से हमें किसी instruction देवे से.
Yes, sir.
जल्दी से मैंने कहिबे कि नहीं अपना ना आउ कोठो आछंती कहिबेनी. ताके अपना डोमिसाइल भी कहिबेनी. You directly start with my highest qualification here.
Yes, sir.
आउ highest qualification ही दबार अछि.
Yes, sir.
आउ सबु पूरा इंटर 12th कोठो करथि 10th सेड दरकार.
So graduation
आपण PhD करछन्ती.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
So आपण जदि एग्रीकल्चर रे PhD करछन्ती.
Yes, sir.
ता ऊपर rather basic किछि कहिबे.
Yes, sir.
Currently I am pursuing my PhD in agriculture. Okay.
Yes, sir.
And eta hela मोर
Research
topic eta मोर domain.
Yes, sir.
ठीक अछि.
Sir.
ता ऊपर कहिबे. अच्छा आपण जदि एग्रीकल्चर रे PhD करछन्ती इट इज अंडरस्टैंडेबल. आपण MSc करछन्ती एग्रीकल्चर रे आपण सेटा ही पढछन्ती.
Yes, sir.
There is no point in saying अब ता पर कि तांको पाखरे ए डिटेल्स गुडा थिबो.
Yes, sir.
ठीक अछि.
Yes,
If they ask you
Yes, sir.
extra जैसे पचारे के कहिबे.
Sir.
फैमिली ऊपर हम किछु कहबार नै.
Okay.
If they ask
Age is
age किछु कहबार दरकार नै.
Yes, sir.
Okay. आपण पूरा फॉर्मल इंट्रोडक्शन रे ए चारि
So formal introduction means no name.
नो नेम.
Yes, sir.
ओके.
Yes.
आ डोमिसाइल भी तो लास्ट टाइम से मना कर देते ओएस पे. तेनो आपण डोमिसाइल भी कहबे आपण चारिटा कंपोनेंट रखियो. फर्स्ट कंपोनेंट हैला latest for our highest qualification.
Yes.
Second हैला current status. So currently you are pursuing PhD तो
Yes.
सेटा कहबे. जे चाकरी करछन से सेटा आपण खाली PhD करछन ना ता संगे आपण को किछि फेलोशिप भी मिलछि ओ.
Yes, sir. Fellowship.
तो सेटा कहबे.
Yes, sir.
सेटा आपण मी काम भी करिया पड़तो ना.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
से निश्चित कहबे लास्ट 2 years 3 years मो ए फेलोशिप रे ए स्टाइपेंड पाई कि मो काम करछि.
Yes.
ओके. तापर आसला हॉबीज जोटा हम कहली. थर्ड फोर्थ है अचीवमेंट्स टा भी रखिले.
Yes, sir.
से तांकर जो डीएफ रे जा दिया है यूपीएससी रो
Okay.
आपण जा लिखु जे अचीवमेंट हिसाब रे सेटा.
Yes, sir. So like I have represented my district 2 times in state level with that national debate competition. Is it?
हां सेटा एकेडमिक अचीवमेंट जो.
Yes, sir.
को करिकुलर एक्टिविटी.
Yes, sir. कहे दरकार नहीं. Only fellowships I have received.
आपणकर कोन अचीवमेंट अछि त आपण स्पोर्ट्स किछि दोचनी.
No, sir.
नो ताले आपणकर से जो फेलोशिप मिलते
Yes,
तो
sir.
रैंक सुडा.
Yes, sir.
सेटा दे परबे डिबेट टा भी दे परबे.
Sir.
डिबेट टा देले सेठी से माने पचारि परबे. डिबेट ऊपर केते टाइप्स रो डिबेट्स थाए.
Yes, sir.
एक्सटेम्पोरे कोन. ठीक अछि.
Yes, sir.
डिबेट कोन. ता भितर डिफरेंस कोन एक्सटेम्पोरे और डिबेट भितर तो एगुडा पचरे कहि परिया हम गोटे कहबेटा हम हॉबी आ तापर से पचरे तापर किछ बेसिक क्वेश्चन कहि परिबे तो सेटा बहुत ही नेगेटिव होते ही ठीक है ओके फाइन सो आ गोटे दिन सब देखिए आपण जे कहउछंती क्वेश्चन ता सुनिला परे आपण यस सर कहि के स्टार्ट करछंती सेटा किसी दरकार नहीं ओके
सर
आपण सुनिले तापर क्वेश्चन ता यू कैन स्टार्ट
यस
ओके
सर ओनली सर कहि संबोधन कहि सर भी कहया दरकार
हां सेंती ताको एड्रेस करि परे
यस
Okay, so you come to forestry and agriculture. Let us start with agriculture. I was talking about this soilless techniques.
Yes, sir.
First, you tell me something about soilless agriculture. Then you tell me about your other technologies. Okay, of recent technologies in agriculture.
So soilless agriculture came into light because of the constraint of land resources, and some of the recent developments are like hydroponics and aeroponics, where the medium is water and the air moist air we used as a substratum for growing plants, and other techniques that are developed in this are like terrace farming, vertical farming, and precision agriculture techniques. These are the modern agriculture techniques.
Okay. So basically what you said is hydroponics.
Yes, sir. And aeroponics.
Aeroponics.
Yes.
And these are soilless techniques. Other techniques?
So other techniques like precision farming, vertical farming, and terrace farming are some of the new techniques.
Okay. Right. So now the government is focusing on more from less. What does that mean, more from less?
So is it about water? The efficiency of water is that the government is promoting more yield from less water. That is more crop from per unit drop. That is.
So is that possible?
Yes, sir, this is possible. We have techniques like sprinkler irrigation and drip irrigation, where we use 1/100th of the water required that in flood irrigation for the equal or sometimes more yield in the same field. And we have also some techniques like deficit irrigation, FIRB techniques, where the water can be saved and yield can be increased.
Okay. What did you say? What techniques you said? FIRB?
Yes, sir.
What is that?
Furrow irrigated raised bed system. And sir, it is a system where we give, instead of flooding the water, we give it in the furrow, and which is on the fourth side of the raised bed, and that is a water saving technique.
Water saving technique?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So now coming to your syllabus, so tell me something about the various agroclimatic zones in India.
Sir, agroclimatic zones classification according to ICAR is 121, while it is on the planning commission the agroclimatic zone is 15, and starting from the and some of are like Himalayan plateau, the trans-Himalayan plateau, the northwest desert region, the coastal regions of east and western part, the Deccan and the Deccan plateaus, these are some of the agroclimatic zones, and these are basically classified on the basis of the climate prevalent, and that takes into matter the precipitation and temperature and the growing season.
Okay. So in Odisha will go under which agroclimatic zone?
Sir, East
or
Coast.
How many agroclimatic zones are included in Odisha?
So it will come under eastern coastal plain, plain and hills, and in Odisha we have 10 agroclimatic zones, sir. Yes.
Odisha has 10 agroclimatic zones.
Yes, sir.
Out of that, as per area, which is the largest? Out of
Sir,
these 10 agroclimatic zones, as per area, which agroclimatic zone covers the highest area?
Sir, I am not aware of it.
Okay. देखिए दे उसमें
Yes, sir.
agroclimatic zones to mention.
Yes.
So, which is your home district?
Angul.
Annupur. So,
Yes.
what about Annupur? Annupur will go under which agroclimatic zone?
Sir, it is central middle tableland zone.
Central middle tableland.
Mid tableland zone.
Okay. And there, tell me something about the main crops in your district.
Sir, in Kharif, the major crops are rice. Also, they grow maize and arhar. And in Rabi, the major are pulses like the green gram and black gram. We also go for pyra cropping of horse gram, and some oil seeds are also grown.
Oil seeds.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Like sunflower.
Okay. So, what about the forests
So
in
the
your district?
yes, sir. So the forest of my district is major part is covered by the dry deciduous forest, where the where species like teak, bamboo, and gamhar are the prevalent species.
Okay. Fine. So, you told me something about the new technologies of agriculture. So, can you tell me what is the status of Odisha? I mean, here our farmers use traditional methods mostly, or they use the new methods.
So in Odisha, the conventional method is in use, and some of the farmers are now adopting the new technology. So there are regions for why they are still dependent on traditional technology because of the small land holding, the resource poorness, and are the compelling them for these traditional methods. But somehow with the easy mechanization and easy access, especially with the formation of cooperative society, where they can lend it on a cooperative basis, the machines, and they are now using modern techniques like tractor, combine harvester, especially in the western part like Bargarh and Sonpur.
Okay. So, if I ask you to tell me what are the major problems related to agriculture in your district, what will be your answer?
Sir, major problem will be the procurement part, I will say, and to in
procurement.
Yes, sir.
That is like you are talking about post harvest.
Yes, sir.
No, during harvest and pre harvest.
Yes, sir. So for harvest, so there is no such problems in Kharif, but in Rabi season the rainfall deficit cause a problem. Sometimes the effect of late onset of monsoon affect the germination of the crop in the field itself, where the harvesting is a problem, and the flood in the basins of Brahmani and Boitarani is also a problem for the farmers.
So, tell me what is the reason, since you are doing your PhD in agriculture, what is the reason you are interested for forest service, considering the fact that you can help in agricultural research and development, which is very very important for a country like India, which is dependent on agriculture.
Yes, sir.
Where are you standing?
Sir, I have always a fascination towards this ecology and environment, and I have also studied the subjects of forestry in my UG and PG courses. So more the service that lure me, it will, the main reason is it's public facing as well as it is related to my subject, and my research experience of PG PhD and the understanding of agroclimatic zones and agroforestry, I think I can contribute to my best to this service. That's why I want to join this service.
अच्छा नहीं एथरे एटा तो गोटे जिनस होला तापरे आपण सर्विस कंडीशंस ऊपर भी कहबे ठीक अछि आंसर टा आइडियलिस्ट बेसी न होई कि टिके रियलिस्टिक भी होबा କଥା
लाइक द पावर एंड प्रेस्टीज एसोसिएटेड
पावर को जिबे नहीं आपण बेसिकली सर्विस कंडीशंस ओके सेपड को आपण कहबे पावर इज वेरी it is viewed in different ways, okay?
Yes.
By different people.
So like service conditions, like I didn't get it.
Conditions is the thing, खाली service. So it's like the service conditions and the security of service.
Yes, sir.
That is very important. So इटा पच्चारिले से थोड़ा आपका पच्चारा इतना सिंधी कि like security of service माने आपण एमती चाहूँगी कि किसी काम करिवे नहीं और जॉब टा थिबो नहीं सेटा नहीं भलो काम करले सिक्योरिटी ऑफ सर्विस तो निहाती दरकार बिकॉज़ समटाइम्स व्हाट हैपेंस यू हैव टू गो अगेंस्ट पावरफुल पीपल maybe against politicians maybe against powerful people so there the security of tenure has to be there.
Yes, sir.
So public service one of the fundamental aspects is security of tenure.
Yes, sir.
If the public servant tenure आप secure करिवेनी so he will be just like a corporate officer.
Yes.
Corporate रे जे काम करछन्ती ताकर प्राइवेट सेक्टर्स रे ताकर जदि बॉस कहबे कि सनराइज इन द वेस्ट दे हैव टू एग्री अदरवाइज नेक्स्ट डे से माने नथिबे जॉब ओके सो सेटा पब्लिक सर्विस रे एंती होबा कथा नियम ओके सेति पई सिक्योरिटी ऑफ टेन्योर इज एसेंशियल फॉर द impartial and unbiased performing of duty by any public servant and that will include your forest service also.
Yes, sir.
ठीक है तो सर्विस कंडीशंस एंड सिक्योरिटी
Yes.
of tenure.
So what comes under service conditions?
Service conditions ଭିତରେ pay ଆସିବ.
Yes.
ठीक ଅଛି. So salary is quite
Perks.
handsome, is quite good. Other perks,
Yes, sir.
for example, after completing a certain period of time in the service,
Yes,
you are free to go on a sabbatical. Okay, for example, आपण PhD कर देछन, जे ग्रेजुएशन करके पछी.
Yes, sir.
तार इच्छा दिबे मु आपको पोस्ट ग्रेजुएशन करिवि कि से कि MBA करिवि यूएस रे कि कोन.
Yes.
Okay, in certain cases government also funds it.
Yes, sir.
Okay, otherwise आपण निजे भी जाई कि करते रे. Right.
What it is called?
आपणकर
The top?
चेयरमैन एबे जे अछंती.
Yes, sir.
OPSC रो.
Yes, sir.
से
Sub-
सो यूके रे जाई कि ताकर हायर स्टडीज करछंती. सर्विस रे थिला रे.
Sir.
Sabbatical नहीं.
Sir, what is the term called?
Sabbatical.
Sabbatical.
Study leave.
Yes, sir.
ठीक है.
Yes.
Study leave.
Yes.
जो थरे की some portion of your pay and your seniority सेटा सब रहियो.
Yes.
ठीक है. तो ये गुडा सब मिडियो ने सब जाय.
Sir.
ता परे आपण बाकी जा सब गवर्नमेंट जॉब रो सब बेनिफिट्स रहला फॉर एग्जांपल हेल्थ कवरेज फॉर द एंटायर फैमिली एंड लॉट ऑफ अदर थिंग्स आर देयर.
Yes, sir.
ठीक है.
Yes, sir.
So सेटा भी that is one of the main our social prestige and standing which is a social construct.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
That need to be said.
Yes, of course. नहेले जणे गोटे पिला आसुचंदी से माने एबे 2 लाख टका मासକୁ इनकम करछंदी से माने एठी जेतरो जॉइन करिवे they will be getting let's say 60-70,000.
So what if they say that you can join Odisha Civil Service? What should be the contrary?
Odisha Civil Service अपना सब
Or civil
कि सर एमिति किछ नाही कि दीटा सर्विस यू नो इट्स लाइक गुड एंटीथेसिस अछि. Okay, I have already given the exam. I have already applied for that. Semti आपण कहि करे चाहूंगी otherwise so that is a generalist service.
Yes, sir.
Where my knowledge of forests
Yes, sir.
and agriculture may not be used in a bigger way or in a relevant way. Whereas if I am joining forest service, here it is related to my own domain. Okay.
If they ask,
agriculture.
yes. So जब से पचारिए कि देई जो कि नहीं civil service, I should say yes.
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 I am trying for different competitive exam. ସବୁବେଳେ
Yes,
इंटरव्यू में सत्य कथाटा कहबे.
आगे.
ओके अवश्य एते सत्य भी कहबे कि जोटा कि नेगेटिव आडू छी.
आगे.
ठीक अछि.
जब से
Like
पचार.
don't discuss your failures.
Yes sir.
Right. इनके केते इंट्रोडक्शन रे आगु के परीक्षा दे हां सर मु 2000 एतिकरे परीक्षा देतिनी मोर किंतु इंटरव्यू रे हेलानी मोर प्रीलिम्स रे हेलानी मोर मेंस रे हेलानी. से बडा किछ कथा सीए पचारे आगु के परीक्षा देतिले.
Yes sir.
अपन से जहा पचारे सेति कहि किछि एक्स्ट्रा नहीं. मु 2014 रे फॉर एग्जाम देति. बस.
Yes.
केते बस.
Yes.
जरा से कोन हेला तार परीक्षा दे. से चांसेस न पचारे देबन.
Yes sir.
बुझि गेल. सो
सर ये लास्ट क्वेश्चन सर सर जैसे पचारे सिविल सर्विस जदि हेजो एपटे छाड़ देबो कोन हिंदी किछ पचारले तो कोन आंसर
नहीं अच्छा आपण कहबे ना सर एटा जदि मोर हेला
Yes, sir.
और सिविल सर्विस की हेला ओडिशा सिविल सर्विस बोथ आर ग्रुप ए सर्विसेज
यस सर
एसीएफ टा भी सेटा ठीक अछि.
Yes.
सो मु काई की छाडी.
Yes.
तो इट्स इन द सेम वे
Yes.
एबीए का एंड दिस इज इन माय डोमेन.
Yes, sir.
सो सर सर्टेनली आई विल डू दैट. ओके.
यस
तापर पछे पर जदि आईएएस मिल गला कि आईएएस मिल गला
Yes.
कि आईपीएस मिल गला ताले छाड़ दे निश्चित छाड़.
यस
ह्यूमन बीइंग रो गोटे सेटा बेसिक.
यस
Okay, and important trait is evolution and to try to reach the pinnacle of success.
यस
अपन जो क्वेश्चन रछन समस्ते चेष्टा करिवे कि हमने आउट करू ताले ही सोसाइटी प्रोग्रेस करिवे और नेशन भी प्रोग्रेस करिवे. तो मु जदी गोटे स्टेट सर्विस रे अछि और काली कि मते सेंट्रल सर्विस रो अपॉर्चुनिटी मिलुची मते आईएफएस मु क्लियर करूची तो सर्टेनली सर जाना.
यस
ठीक अछि. सेटा है लॉजिकल तो ऑब्वियसली तो सही करिवो. सेठी कि आइडियलिस्टिक आंसर द नाइस सर मते ई सर्विसटा बहुत भल लागे तो जहां भी मते मिली गले मु आउ छाडी. ठीक अछि. सो लास्ट टाइम आपने पहुंचते थे मते एमएलए रो टिकट मिलिबो तुमे छाडी कि से क्लास को सैंक्शन करते. मते जदी गोटे माने गोटे भलो पार्टी रे विनिंग रो चांसेस अछि. ओके व्हिच इज द एक्चुअल थिंग. नॉर्मल लोग से सो ऑलवेज कीप द इंटरव्यू सिंपल. बेसिक भाबी चिंती कि आउट ऑफ द बॉक्स आंसर किछि वाला पड़ी. नॉर्मल आंसर देबे. ओके जोटा रैशनल आंसर देबे. आउ जोटा ओके जेंति एठी हम जेते कहू छु कि मु यू नो सेमाने दे वेरी एक्सपीरियंस पीपल. दे कैन इजीली से वेदर यू हैव बीन कोच्ड और नॉट. मु जदी 25 टा आंसर को घोसी की जाई सेठी कोनोसी सोर्स रु ताले से क्लियरली जଣା पड़ी जो कि ये को गोटे घोसी के स्टोरी को होछ. मु जदी स्पॉन्टेनियस आंसर टा दोची ताले कोन से क्लियरली रिलेटेड काहे कि ना प्राय 70% प्लस स्पॉन्टेनियस आंसर दियंते कि ओके से माने जे आसे माबा करथे से कोनती तो क्लियरली जଣା जଣା पड़ी.
यस
ओके सो कीप दैट इन माइंड.
यस
Okay, so tell me something about what is VAM and how it affects the soil.
Sir, VAM is a use of is a microorganism that is used for mobilization and the making availability of the phosphorus in soil. It is basically a fungus where it uses its vesicle as well as arbuscule, and the mycorrhiza part makes symbiotic association with the roots. And in the vesicle store and the arbuscule mobilize the soil phosphorus which otherwise is unavailable to plant. So plant get benefited and the mycorrhiza get the food nutrition from the plant itself. So it is a symbiotic relationship which is helpful for a higher crop yield.
Okay. What do you mean by viviparity?
Sorry sir?
Viviparity?
Yes sir. Viviparity is the germination of the seed when it is attached to the mother plant itself. So it is a condition where the dormancy of the seed is not there. So when they get the other factors for germination, the relevant factors for germination, they get germinate.
Okay. So what is the? Can you give me some examples of this?
So in rice also, if we if the rain occurs during harvest, the seed get the germination of seed while lying on the is also there, but the vivipary is more conspicuous in the mangrove cell, like the Rhizophora species, where the vivipary germination is higher.
Okay. So, tell me something about social forestry. What do you mean by social forestry?
So, social forestry is a part of extension forestry, which is beyond the notified regular forest, and it is developed on the social by in the village commons or other wasteland with the help of the people on the society, and it is also that quench the need of the society.
Need of the society. Okay. So you talk about extension.
Yes.
So tell me some 3 or 4 important principles of extension, be it agriculture extension or forestry extension.
Sir, extension is all about transferring the knowledge that was gathered from research and study of to the beneficiary, that is the farmer or the social group in case of forestry. So extension should be, the major principle should be, the extension must be transferred in a easy and convenient way. It should be feedback oriented. The research and the extension must go side by side, where the feedback is worked on as research and research outcomes are given through extension. And the grassroots level problems are identified through extension, which can be further taken for research and modification as per the local need.
Okay. So tell me something about the various methods of controlling weeds.
Yes, sir, weed is something that is a plant out of place and out of time, so which need to be controlled for the better yield of plant, and some of the methods are like mechanical methods, which include hand hoeing, plowing, and the physical methods like burning, stale bed planting, and we also use chemical methods where we use different herbicides for controlling weed, and in biological method also we use bioagents like fungus and bacteria to kill the weed.
Okay. What about cultural methods?
Yes, sir. Cultural method is about the agronomic operations that are helpful in controlling weeds, like summer plowing, stale bed planting, flushing of water into the field and allowing decompose the weed, and use the small row to row spacing. These are some of the methods that control weed. Also mulching is a better option.
Mulching? What is mulching?
So mulching is covering the soil surface, be it within the inter rows or the whole surface, where by this we are going to check the evaporation, loss of moisture from the soil, and also we are controlling the weed growth.
Okay. Is there any advantage of weeds, or they are completely like unwanted things? Any advantage of weeds, any medicinal use, etc., of any kind of weed, etc.?
Yes, sir. We call it a weed when it is out of place and out of time, but it has some qualities, like it is used for incense sticks, the perfumes, and some of the weeds are also used for medicinal purpose, like the celosia is used especially against the snake bite, and some of the others help in controlling the blood sugar, like the dhoop grass. There are some benefits.
Okay. So what are the major problems, okay, of forests in Odisha? Or we can say that what are the major issues, okay, that you will relate to forestry in Odisha?
So the Odisha is endowed with a good natural resources, but it is getting deteriorated due to problems like the so-called the jhum cultivation, that is the podu chasa, and others like encroachment and illegal cutting of timber by the mafias, and also there is the lack of strict legislation and work of the schemes like Kampa Fund, and are not able to save the area under forest.
Okay. Tell me some important measures for taken by government of Odisha or important schemes related to forest.
So the first is the Green Mahanadi mission, which is a recent. The government has declared that it will plant some trees, including fruit trees like mango and jamun, in the valleys of Mahanadi, where it will be made green. And the government is also planning to develop green corridors, where the plant will be planted on along the both side of the road.
Okay.
And others like Bear Hill program and assisted regeneration program, wasteland development plans, and these are some of the initiatives the government of Odisha have taken.
Name of some schemes related to forestry or agriculture?
Sir, I am not aware of it.
Yes, sir. Agriculture को तो नहीं कि बहुत बड़े scheme.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
काड़िया है लाइक जहाँ भी ना कोई बने.
Agriculture, sir, I know.
Agriculture को forestry रभी.
Again.
तारा government of Odisha website ले.
Sir.
Important schemes under ले.
Sir.
सब बड़ा देश.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
So, tell me something about the disbalance or unbalance of the NPK ratio in the soil due to indiscriminate use of some particular fertilizers.
So the indiscriminate use of fertilizer is primarily due to the low and subsidized rate of urea, which has the farmer has a belief that applying more urea will increase crop yield, but this is not the case. This is actually not the case, and it alters actually the nutrient balance in the soil. The ideal NPK should be 4:2:1, which is now has reached to 13.5 to 8.5 and 1, which is very dangerous for the soil nutrient balance as well as the microbes present in the soil.
Okay. So what the government has done for that? Have you heard about something called NBS system? NBS? Nutrient based subsidy?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Tell me something about that.
Sir, government to regulate this, government has launched NBS scheme where the nutrient, according to nutrient, that is the phosphorus and potassium, is also the made available to plant, and the use of urea is also controlled. The government is also trying to give subsidy on the micronutrient and micronutrient mixed fertilizer. And the soil health card is one of the major milestone, which gives the nutrient status of the soil to the farmer and recommend them how much fertilizer to be applied.
Okay. Okay, fine. Suppose you have been selected and you are posted as ACF in some place, and there one problem, big problem is happening there. That is the pests, certain kind of pests. Okay, let's say locust.
Yes, sir.
There is locust attack in that area and it is destroying the crops. So government has asked you to take steps to
Yes, sir.
ensure that okay,
Yes,
this stops. So government has given you free hand. Whatever resources required, you take it from the government, but this problem should be okay
Yes,
solved. What are you going to do?
So is it about forestry or?
It is a general question.
Yes, sir.
Locust attack
Yes, sir.
on crops.
Yes, sir.
Locust attack on crops.
Yes, sir.
So, as a forest officer or a aspiring forest officer, how will you stop?
So I will consider it is a time where we need to seek the community help. So, and they should be aware of the locust attack previously, and so that they can take coordinated actions like use of this fire to control, use of chemical spraying on the lake, and that can reduce the load. And the forest official through control through forest official, I will go through the whatever the available scientific and chemical methods that is needed at the immediate basis.
Okay. Fine. So, according to you, what are the 5 important qualities that every forest service officer should have? 5 important qualities.
Sir, forest officer must be honest one, and he must have the quality of leadership as well as the innovative approach. He must have innovative approach to solve the problems, and he must be sympathetic towards the nature as well as the empathetic, I should say empathetic towards nature and the livelihood of the community around the village and around the forest. And he must be inspiring the colleagues as well as subordinates, and her actions and efficiency as well as the presence of mind can play a major role in his service efficiency.
Okay. So just to turn the question around, what according to you are the qualities, undesirable qualities, if you can say, which should be avoided, or which should be like, it should not, any public servant should avoid those things?
So it seems that after getting job security, the officers get very unsympathetic towards the service condition, and their honesty is somewhat compromised due to corruption and other problems, and they get away from the people itself. Though it is a public facing job, they get away from the people, and they are reluctant to to understand their problems, and sometimes the hierarchy of position is not maintained, which is also reported recently by the government of Odisha.
Okay. You have heard about smart city?
Yes, sir.
Similarly, you have heard about smart forest?
No, sir, I have not heard
You
about.
have not heard about the concept of smart forest?
No, sir.
Okay, you know what is smart city?
Yes, sir.
So suppose, in the same way I'll tell you, okay, if similar kind of things are to be done in a forest, okay, to call it a smart forest, what will be those things, or how you will use technology,
Yes, sir.
okay, to ensure that you get better results in a forest?
So use of technology will depends on the available of resources with us, and on the basis of smart city, if I develop the smart forest, there must be availability of basic factors like the irrigation to the small saplings, and the easy availability like the roads and access, I should say easy access to all parts of the forest, and use of sensor and GIS GPS technique. I can identify the disease one, the pest attack part of the forest. Also I can keep a notice on the encroachment of the areas as well as the border of the forest through sensor and satellite data.
Okay. Right. Out of these, what government of Odisha is using now? Or, if you can tell me, what are the latest technologies which is being used by our forest department, Odisha Forest Department?
So they are now using the ResourceSat LEAS technique, ResourceSat 2 satellite and the LEAS technique, linear imaging scanning technique, where they are trying to check if the forest cover is getting reduced. That's what I know about it.
Okay. Right. So you talked about some satellite system. Can you tell me what are the various satellite systems, okay,
Yes, sir.
that are used
Yes, sir.
for in forest management by India? I'm talking about Indian satellites.
Yes, sir. So for satellites like ResourceSat, which is used to locate the resources like the forest part and some geological part, where by this we are keeping in check. And we are also using CATOSat satellites, which is used for cartography, that is map making. And we are also using INSAT satellites for education purpose. Satellites are also been used for the broadcasting and communication part. And now the satellite have been developed to the part of called nano satellites, where small satellites can be used with for photography as well as education purposes.
Okay, fine. So now suppose if I tell you that which is the most important, okay,
Yes.
according to you, according to priority, which is the most important quality of a good officer? Like you said, honesty is
Yes.
okay. Should honesty be the most important characteristic or value, or should efficiency? Means धरंतु आपणकर जड़े गोटे वर्कर अच्छा ओके जो हाईली ऑनेस्ट अच्छा कि एफिशिएंट ना ताले आउ जड़े अच्छा से हाईली एफिशिएंट अच्छा बट ही इज नॉट ऑनेस्ट ओके सो हु विल बी एन एसेट टू द ऑर्गेनाइजेशन
Sir,
who will be a liability when
Sir, honest man is always an asset, and because efficiency can be increased through training, through counseling, and giving them the opportunity to develop their skills through service training also. But I think honesty is somewhat inherent to someone, and such a character, such a good attribute can be the asset to the department.
okay, fine. So tell me something about C3 and C4 mechanism with example.
Sir, C3 plants are called C3 plant is we call some plants C3 plant because the first product here is C3, that is 3-phosphoglyceric acid, while in C4 the first product is oxaloacetic acid, which is a 4-carbon compound. That's why we call it C4 plant. So C3 plants examples are rice, wheat, and C4 plants are maize, sorghum. The C4 plants are more water efficient than C3 plants.
Okay.
And the yield capacity of C4 plants are also higher compared to C3 on the same water content, same water availability.
So you know what is a forest working plan?
Yes, sir.
What are its main components? Main components of a forest working plan.
Sir, I don't remember at this time.
Okay, then at least tell me what is a forest working plan.
So forest working plan is a plan that is developed in advance, according to which the long term forest work can be done it is either developed by the DFO or the working plan officer, or in combination of both, so as being to develop a plan, because forestry is a long term practice where minimum of 10 to 15 years plans need period is to be planned before, so that the stocking, the availability of stocks, the regeneration programs, as well as the conversion part of the forest can be forecasted before, and actions can be taken according to that.
Okay. So, how can you measure the or calculate the yield of a tree? What are the various formula that you know?
And so yield of a tree can be calculated by the calculation of volume of the timber. If it is about timber, then we have some techniques like standard timber outrun technique, where the timber volume is calculated with the use of its height and diameter. It may be the economic part, including the root, or like the standard timber part, only the timber.
Okay. So, under forestry, you can tell me what are the silvicultural practices of teak?
Yes, sir. So starting from the germination, the silviculture practice of tree teak is a teak. That started. That is the growing. Before sowing of the seeds of teak, we subjected it to heat treatment so that the germination gets better. After the establishment of teaks, either in plant form or in the form of stump, that is, we use it in the main field. And after that, the thinning process is carried out, so the disease and undesirable plants are eradicated, and the spacing is spacing between two plants eventually made wide, which is about 5 meter, and also the pruning and actions are done throughout the life cycle, where the side branches are cut and given the tree a chance to grow more, attain more height.
Okay. So, thank you. That will be the end of the interview.
Thank you, sir.
So, overall, picture Google, apanankara 130 around rahibo. Okay. Out of 200. So,
as a session interactive, how can be it more interactive? And
interactive, that is not in your hand.
Yes, sir.
Okay. ଏଠି କ'ଣ ଆପଣ ପଢ଼ଉଛନ୍ତି କି ସେମାନେ ଷ୍ଟୁଡେଣ୍ଟସ୍ କି ତାଙ୍କ ଲାଗି ଇଣ୍ଟରାକ୍ଟ ତ ମେଣ୍ଟେନ୍ କମ୍ପ୍ଲିଟ୍ ଫର୍ମାଲିଟି, ଯେତିକି ଦରକାର ଯେତିକି ପଚରା ହେଇଛି ସେତିକି କହିବେ, କିଛି ଏକ୍ସଟ୍ରା କହିବେନି, ଯାହା ପଚରା ହବ ସେତିକି କହିବେ, ଆଉ ଯାହା ପଚରା ହେଉଛି ପ୍ରଥମେ ସେଇଟା କହିବେ। ସପୋଜ ଇଫ୍ ଦେ ଆର୍ ଏସ୍ପେଶାଲି ଇନ୍ ଓପିନିଅନ୍ ବେସ୍ଡ କ୍ୱେଶ୍ଚନ୍, ସିଏ ଆପଣଙ୍କୁ ପଚାରୁଛନ୍ତି କି କେମିତି ଗୋଟେ ଜିନିଷଟେ ହବ, କି ହ୍ୱାଟ୍ ଇଜ୍ ୟୋର୍ ଓପିନିଅନ୍ ଅବାଉଟ୍ certain things. Okay, yes, so do you agree with the Citizens Amendment Act? Yes, so केते पिला को पूछी आमे कोन तो थ्योरी लिखुछु, आमे फर्स्ट तार गोटे इंट्रोडक्शन ता हिस्टोरिकल बैकग्राउंड एटा लिखुछु, ताପରେ आमे कंक्लूजन को आछु, एटी ओल्टा एटी समरी कंक्लूजन ता yes sir I agree with the intent of the bill. Yes sir. ताପରେ these are my reasons for agreement. Yes sir. कि disagree जाबे को करी. Yes sir. प्रथम है सेमान जा पचाउछुनी सीधा काम कर ओके सेटा बहुत इंपोर्टेंट तो मु जदी स्टार्ट करी सर एक्चुअली सिटीजनशिप अमेंडमेंट बिल रो की तरह एक्ट रो सर हिस्ट्री बिफोर इंडिपेंडेंस जाउची ये हमें पार्सिस मान को सेया समय तले ईरान को समय तक बार कराला से हमें तो कोई दी तो ये द हिस्ट्री देखले बहुत रहा हम फ्रेंड किछि बा फर्स्ट जेति की पचाउछन सेति बिकॉज़ दैट इज वेरी इंपोर्टेंट फॉर इंटरव्यू इट शुड नॉट बी लाइक वन लाइन ओके बट एक्सप्लेनेशन इज सेति की जेति की required yes आपण बेसिक पढले आपण बेसिक प्रोग्राम में पढले से माने सेउठु धरि की क्वेश्चंस बाहर करी जो में आपण केबे भी प्रिपेयर करते ओके सो ओवरऑल
सर कौन सर इंप्रूवमेंट करे दरकार
हम से पूछ पूरा आपण आई कांटेक्ट ठीक अछि सेकंड कंटेंट आपनकर बहुत भलो अछि ओके कंटेंट ऑफ द आंसर कोनटा कहउछन ओके आपनकर पोज पोस्चर से सब ठीक अछि ओके स्माइल भी मेंटेन कि रोजी अपन तथापि 2 आवर्स एवरी डे
Yes, sir.
टिल योर डेट ऑफ इंटरव्यू
Yes, sir.
मिरर इंटरव्यू प्रैक्टिस करंतु गोटे सेशन रो 40 मिनिट्स मिनिमम होया कथा ओके
Yes, sir.
अच्छा जो फॉरेस्ट important forest
Legislation.
programs,
Yes.
policies,
Yes.
agricultural program policies of
Yes.
government of Odisha
Yes, sir.
and India.
Sir.
चलो ठीक है देखिए.
So the entry part is okay. So the opening the door entry part.
Opening the door. दीटा सिचुएशन होबो आइदर से कि लोक थिबो जे अपन में ओपन कर दो ओके अदरवाइज यदि अपन निजे अछि फर्स्ट नॉक करिवे
Yes, sir.
नॉक करि कि टिके खोलि कि पछरे
Yes.
डिपेंड्स ऑन द पोजीशन ऑफ द
Sir, knock
डोर
करियो
डोर
पड़े.
खोला दिबो हां यू हैव टू नॉक
Yes, sir.
और सीधा डोर टा खोलि कि ताको पछरे कि मैं कर नॉक वेट फॉर 5 सेकंड्स ओपन द डोर
Yes, sir.
देन आस्क मे आई कम सर कि मैडम जे देखा
Sir.
ठीक है मैडम जदि अछंती ताले ताको पछरे कथा
Okay.
ओके जदि आपण जानि जे चेयरमैन ऑफ द बोर्ड किए कहबे से कि ताले ताको देखि दिए करे ओके कहबे प्लीज कमेंट
Chairman of board usually sit middle.
not necessarily
Yes, sir.
not necessarily साइड रे बस करनी पछरे रे बस करनी बहुत जगह सुनती
यदि मैडम जणे थिबे पैनल रे मैडम को ही पचरे
हां लीडिंग के अपन जनरली ओके तापरे कहना प्लीज कमेंट इधर से थैंक यू कहबे ओके कि धन्यवाद जावे हम प्लान करछथि डोर रो पोजीशन स्टेटस को सब
Yes.
ओके दैट मींस यदि खुला थिला खुला रहइबो यदि बंद थिला बंद कर देबे ओके खुला डोर थिला प्रेस करले तथापि नॉक करके पसिबे कि तो बंद कर देबे
Okay.
when you are entering door is open
Yes, sir.
okay interview board रे door के खोला रहता है सब बंद ही थिबो
Okay.
ओके तो
Sir, door open थिले भी knock करिवे सेठी.
door open तो close कर knocking is must just to indicate that you are तापर परमिशन ता पछे
Yes.
कुछ कर
Yes, sir. And coming in.
कमेंट तापर जा सैल्यूटेशन आपण करिवे नमस्कार की गुड मॉर्निंग और
Yes.
सेटा सिंगल सैल्यूटेशन हुए चारि जण बसुछन माने गुड मॉर्निंग सर गुड मॉर्निंग मैडम गुड मॉर्निंग सर तो मैडम को तो प्रथमे कहबे गुड मॉर्निंग मैडम एंड गुड मॉर्निंग सर कहि कि समस्त का आखि की देखिला अछि कि नमस्कार सर नमस्कार मैडम नमस्कार सर कहि कि नमस्कार मैडम नमस्कार सर नमस्कार सर नमस्कार
Yes.
सर सेटा निजे ही भाबंतु केते ऑड लागियो बट
Right.
सम पीपल आर डूइंग आई डोंट नो से किए पहुंची द प्रिफर ओके से
Sir,
हेटा लॉजिक रो दिस
Yes.
if there are 4 members or 3 members
Yes.
okay so it's like आपण नमस्कार करे करी कि समस्त को देखि दो यू आर विशिंग सो इट्स लाइक बहुत ही रिडिकुलस लाइक यदि समस्त को यू नो आपण इंडिविजुअली सेटा कहबे राइट सो सेटा आपण विश
So
कर
first madam को ही कहया पड़ो जदि थिबे.
लेडी में तो कौन
Okay.
ओके
And when they will offer the seat, I will also say thank
थैंक यू
you.
वेरी मच यदि सीट ऑफर ना करे बैठिए
Yes.
ओके क्या इंटरव्यू दे
Sir.
किछ होसिनो
So what should be the position like एमिदी ना
ना ना एमिति कोन आपण
एमिति.
ये इंटरव्यू दोछन ना कोन
एमिदी.
ये अटेंशन और पूरा स्टीफ कर देना नॉर्मली
Yes.
नॉर्मली अपन ठीक
Yes.
है কিন্তু बसिला बेले आंखो ऊपर हाथ रखे
Okay.
ठीक है
Sir.
क्लास्पिंग हो बने हाथ दिटा हाथ ये ही लगी
Okay.
ओके बाकी ठीक अछि सब डिपेंडिंग ऑन कोन आपनकर पॉलिसी एठी रिटर्न रे
It's all good.
यदि इंटरव्यू रे ए परफॉर्मेंस होइबो यू कैन एक्सपेक्ट दैट